Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related.
Please mention in the chat if I'm audible. Okay, I think the voice is clear. Yes, let me know if you have any specific doubts regarding the subject. Otherwise, we will go with the general flow. We'll see what all what all topics you will get for sure in the exam and how to answer. Yeah, okay, right. Hmm. So this is your MCS-11 question paper. It's a 100 marks paper and passing is 40%. So 40 marks you should score for passing. See, there are certain topics that we need to write the output of the program. No, not necessary. Output is not necessary. You have to write only the program. Okay. So output is not necessary, Vinay. Flowchart and algorithm, be clear with what all symbols are written in the flowchart. And every time you will get most half of the paper is based on theoretical concepts and half of the paper is based on practicals. That is, you should be writing the programs for which you need to understand the concepts very well. So in my YouTube channel under playlists, if you go, there is C programming videos. It is worth, even at this stage, it is worth watching each and every video. Every video is around 20 to 30 minutes. I have explained the concepts in a most simple way possible. And if you watch that, you will be able to write the answers very clearly in the exam. Okay. And most of these topics, the differences and all I have explained. And what I have observed in C programming question paper based on all these past years question paper is that there are not much repeated questions. There are standard questions, but there are not much repeated questions. So what happens is, see, you will definitely have one program to write, which is based on loop, but the structure they give is different every time. Okay, so in this program, they've given a word infinity. Sometimes they might give some numerical value. Sometimes they might give some other word, and they might give an increasing to decreasing order. So all these requires minor changes in the program. Just one small change in the program will give you a completely different output. So how to, once you know one basic program, how to change small values, how to change values of certain variables in order to get the required output. For this, you will have to know the concepts very well. So if you are aware of the concepts, then you can easily score good marks in this paper. It is not that difficult. You will have more questions have come from loops. Okay, so please focus on that. You will get at least around 15 to 20 marks from loops only. You might have two questions, two 5-mark questions, which is like differentiate this with that. Or they might ask you just to describe what is a loop and what are different types of loops and give examples. So this kind of question might come. Or they might ask how do you differentiate between a while loop and a for loop? So this kind of questions, theoretical questions, if you get 2 questions, you will get 2 program-based questions. And you might get questions like what is the difference between recursion and iteration. So these kind of questions are very, very general questions. If you know the basic programming skills, you will be able to write all these things. These are very common programs to find out prime number. So some of the programs that you can note down is that you can make a note of these things. Prime number program, Fibonacci series, and then factorial of a number with recursion and without recursion. Both they have asked. It is repeated so many times, so please go through that. And then you have just a second. Hope you can see the screen. Yeah. So under programs, you have questions like prime number. They might ask you to write the program, or they might ask you to write algorithm. Okay. And then factorial of a number. They have asked normal iterative version, also recursive function. This also they have asked many times. So learn both. That is using for loop. You will have one program. And then recursive function is also there. Okay, using recursion. This also you should learn. Then swapping value of 2 variables. Please make a note of all this, or you can take a screenshot also later. Swapping value of 2 variables. This is also very frequently asked. And one common mistake that students do is whenever they give swapping value of 2 variables, using pointers will be given. Okay, using pointers. Don't write the entire code in same main function itself. You're not supposed to do that. The moment if you're using pointers, it means you have to use functions. Without using functions within the same main function itself, if you're using pointers and writing code for swapping value, you will not get full marks. So you might only get half of whatever marks is allotted for that problem. So make sure whenever the question is swapping value of 2 variables using pointers, use functions. Pass these variables as pointers, pass references of these variables to functions, and do the swapping within the function, and displaying the value should be done after coming back to the main function. Okay, so you have to write code according to that. Don't write the pointers in main function itself and swap it. That is not correct. And you will get Fibonacci series. Okay, this is very, very frequently asked. So again, among this and this one, you might get they might ask you to write the program, or they might ask you to write only the flowchart and algorithm. So depending on what is asked, you will have to write. And then there is one files program. Okay, files input output. You will definitely get one of this question for 10 marks. Okay, and then there will be one structure program. Please practice this structure program. Write a program to read marks of 10 students and display their average grade, something like that. Or write a program to read details of employees and display their salary after tax. So all these are based on structures. You will definitely have a structure program for 10 marks. There are question papers where structure program is not given for 10 marks, but that's very rare. Most of the times you get one files program for 10 marks and one structure program for 10 marks. Okay. And even if you're not getting a 10 mark structure program, you will at least get a question which is like, what is a structure? Explain the syntax and give an example. So this kind of question, one for 10 marks, you will definitely get. and one question on files. This is all programs. This is based on my experience. And then there is one loop program that they will ask. Pattern, printing patterns. Okay, there is a video in my YouTube channel where I have explained printing patterns program. Based on what pattern they have given, how to change your code slightly in order to get the required output. So printing patterns using loops. This is very, very commonly asked question. So when we say printing patterns, it can be something like this: 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this can they might have given like this, or this type of pattern, or they might ask you to display Pascal's triangle. 1, 3, 3, 1. I think you're aware of Pascal's triangle. All of you are aware of Pascal's triangle? Yes or no? And then something like this. 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1. So right inverse right angle triangle, or they might ask you like this one, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, and then 1. So this kind of programs will come under printing patterns. They have also asked text-based pattern printing, that is like that infinity. So you are supposed to take a word and then start printing. Say, for example, if you take a word, say the example given in that program itself is like infinity. Infinity is the word you are taking. So you will have to, in the first line, display only one character. In the second line, display two characters. In the third line, display three characters. So like this. Okay, so you should keep on increasing number of characters in each line. And in the last line, you should be displaying this entire word. So this all are very easy if you know how to handle iterative variables, and minor changes in the loop conditions will give you different types of outputs. So please practice that. You will definitely get a question based on this. Okay. And then there is one matrix program. You will get, these are all important programs. You will not get all of this, but you will get many of this. One program on matrix. So matrix program, you will have to write two-dimensional arrays. So it can be a matrix multiplication. Okay. Can be matrix multiplication. Sometimes they ask sum of diagonals. Okay. Sum of diagonal elements, product of diagonal elements. It is easy to access diagonal elements. To access diagonal elements, you don't need nested for loop. You will need only one for loop, because diagonal elements will have, suppose you have a 3 cross 3 matrix. So this is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 2, 1, 2, 2. This will be your 3 cross 3 matrix, right? And these are the diagonal elements. And for diagonal elements, the row index and the column index will be same. So 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2. These are the diagonal elements. Add it or multiply based on what is asked in the question. They might have asked you to find sum of the diagonal elements or product of the diagonal elements. You just need one loop. And say, for example, if you are taking for I equals to 0, I less than equal to, or I less than 3, I plus plus, if you write, you don't have to write one more for j equals to. That is how you write all your matrix programs. But only if it is based on diagonal elements, you can directly write, so sum plus equal to, if this matrix is I. Before loop, you have to make sum equals to 0. Okay. So here, when I is 0, I less than 3, yes, we enter the loop. I is 0, right? So A 0, 0, which is this element, will be added to sum. Initially, sum will be 0. This value will get added. Next, I plus plus, I becomes 1. 1 less than 3, yes. So here we will get A 1, 1, that gets added to sum. So this happens for all the three elements. And then outside the loop, you will have to display the sum. So if it is diagonal elements, then only one for loop is sufficient. You don't need a nested for loop. If it is matrix addition or multiplication, you will need a nested for loop. Okay. So sum or product of diagonal elements will be given. This is based on matrices. These are programs, and then recursion. They might ask you to explain what is recursion and write a recursive program for something. And okay, so this is all programs. Okay, recursion, let's not write under programs. These are the programs that you can expect. And if-else statements, usually, they do not specify. If-else statements, if they're asking, it is only based on theory. Okay, like they might ask you what is the difference between if-else and switch statement. Because when you're writing a prime number program, it is definitely using if-else statements only, right? So prime number, also Armstrong number. You know Armstrong number, right? Am I audible? I think there was some issue. Please check whether I'm audible, whether my voice is clear. So Armstrong number is a number where sum of cubes is equal to the original number. Example is 153. So it is 1 cube plus 5 cube plus 3 cube gives you same number as 153. Okay. Just check whether it is whether my voice is clear. Okay, fine. So these are the programs that you can expect. Then sorting. This is looking at the programs that you can expect. Important programs. Strings, sorting array elements. Sorting array elements is one most repeated question. You can use any sorting technique. So there are so many sorting techniques. Now it is audible. So sorting array elements, there are so many sorting techniques. Okay. And in my data structures playlist, this is present. There is a data structures playlist. In this playlist, you can find different sorting algorithms. You have bubble sort, selection sort, insertion sort, merge sort. There are different sorting algorithms. You can sort using any of the techniques. They will not mention which technique to use. It is only, they will only ask whether you arrange the elements in ascending orders or something like that. So you can choose any of the sorting procedure, whichever is easy for you, you choose that. In data structure, if you're writing data structure exam, they will mention specifically which sorting technique to use. But here they will not mention. Use bubble sort or insertion sort. They are the easiest ones. Bubble sort is very easy to remember. So sorting array elements, and then demonstrating string functions. One string program will be given. Okay, demonstrating string functionalities. And what I have observed is they have asked you to write a program using loops, which does the same function as a string function without using string library functions, like string concatenation, combining two strings, or finding string length. So this kind of questions they have asked you to write your own code without using string header file functions. So that can be given, or they might ask you to demonstrate some string functions. So these are the important topics that you have to go through for program part. Okay, any question? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Now, description based questions. Descriptive questions. One important, so they might ask you about data types. Okay, data types, operators, and expressions. How many different types of operators are there? This, they might ask you this for 5 marks. Okay. And then they might ask difference between. Okay, difference between iteration and recursion. Iteration means loops, and recursion is, you know what it is, recursion. So they might ask this again for 5 marks, very commonly repeated question. And then about files. Okay, structures. See, these are individual topics about control statements. So if they ask you about control statements, make sure how you present the answer. It has to be very clean and neat. So control statements, there are 3. Okay. One is if else. So one is if else statements, and then you have switch, and then go to. These are the 3 types. Under if else, you have further categories. That is simple if else. Okay, simple if else. Then ladder if else. And then nested if else. Okay. So simple if else, ladder if else, and nested if else. Then you have switch statement. In switch statement, if see again switch statement, you will have to just give syntax. There are so many rules for the expressions that you have to give within the switch statement, and those things are not necessary. If your question is about control statements, you don't have to get into details of each one of this. Write what is if else, how it works, then write there are 3 types. Simple if else, give the syntax. So when we say syntax, you should write if. So just write a few lines like this, and this is true block. And then else, false block. This is syntax. Okay, when they say syntax, this is syntax, that's all. Example means you will have to write something. If condition. Okay, this is syntax. So this is if else, and if you have, if they ask you to write an example, then you will have to write if A greater than B, so something like this. Okay, printf A is the biggest element. So give an example, can be any example, or you can take if a number modulus 2 is 0. If a number modulus 2 is equal to 0, then printf, it's an even number. Okay, else it is an odd number. So this is example. So when they say example, you don't have to write a complete program. You have to write just that part of the code, just that block of code is sufficient. If they ask you to write a program, see, sometimes if they'll say, give example, okay. But then if they ask you to write a program, then you will have to write the complete program. If it is only, see, when they'll ask example and when they'll ask you to write the program, you should know. If they ask you explain for loop program, then write what is for loop and write the complete program, okay. No, looks like there is some issue. I'm not sure. Okay. And if you have um, different types, am I audible? No, there is some message on the screen here. I'm not sure if it is clear. Please let me know if it's audible. Okay. Is the video available? Video and audio both? Okay, I think it's available. Okay, so if it is about just one particular loop, and if they ask you to write, yes, okay, thank you. So if it is just one particular loop, and if they ask you to write the detailed program, then you have to write from hash include stdio.h. From that you have to write. If they ask you what are iterative statements, what are control statements, give examples, then you cannot write a full program for each and every statement. So in that case, you will have to just write this syntax. This is syntax, this is example. Okay. Gaganashri, yes, but very occupied, extremely occupied. So since one of the students asked me to take, Snigdha asked me to take class today. So I'm taking the live session. I'm extremely occupied. So, and also I'm taking a live session for BCS 12 Max also. So, taking 1 week ahead, it becomes sometimes difficult due to lack of time. Okay. So make sure how you write the answers and how much answer you write. Like if it is for 10 marks, if control statements is for 10 marks, then make sure you write if else, switch, go to. For each of this, just write the syntax. And for switch also write the syntax. Under switch expressions, there are many conditions. All that conditions you don't have to specify. Again, go to just write the syntax. Okay. If it is only about switch statement, then write syntax, write what all rules are there in with reference to switch statement expressions. You have rules like you cannot give logical expressions in the case expressions. It has to be only integer variables or integer expressions. You cannot have float. You cannot have relation expressions, and you cannot have logical expressions. So, and then you cannot have floating point values there. You cannot use variables there. So there are a lot of constraints, all that you will have to list and then write the syntax and example also. Okay. So based on marks allotted, you will have to decide how much to write. So if it is just about control statements, that includes branching statements and looping statements. Branching statements are that if, else, switch, and go to. Loop statements are while, do while, and for loop. Okay. All that you will have to write. And then learn basics about functions. Okay, function. What is a function definition? Again, for this, there is one video in my channel in C programming playlist where I have very clearly explained what is function and what are its advantages. There are 3 or 4 advantages I have listed. And what are the steps in using a function in our program? We have function prototype, function calling, and function definition. How to give each one of them, I have clearly explained with example. Instead of learning that in our notes, and there is a possibility of forgetting, if you watch that video, you will be able to clearly understand what all to write in the exam. Okay. So function definition, types of functions. Okay, function definition, types, and you have something called advantages. Okay, advantages of function, and then recursion. All these things you will get. Recursion is either you will get a program or you will get a theory topic. You will definitely get it. And string functions, string handling functions like string length, string copy, string concatenation. These functions, they might ask you to list some of them and give example. And file handling functions is compulsory. Please go through this. You will get a file program. Also, one 5-mark question on file functions, file handling functions. And learn about pointers. What is a pointer, advantages of pointers, when to use pointers, all these things you have to learn. Recursion also, learn the definition, okay, advantages and disadvantages. There are disadvantages also based on for recursion. You have whenever you are using recursion, execution time will be more because of repeated calling of functions. Execution time will be more. We call it as function overhead. That is more in recursion. If you are using that word function overhead in your answer and you're explaining about it like 1 or 2 lines, you will definitely get full marks for that topic. And then dynamic memory allocation. About dynamic memory allocation, I have explained in data structures playlist. The second or third video has explanation on dynamic memory allocation. Here, what is dynamic memory allocation and the functions used for dynamic memory allocation? You have malloc, calloc, realloc, and then free function. These 4 functions you will have to practice. When to use which one, with syntax and examples, and what is dynamic memory allocation, what are the advantages. And then here I think I have not mentioned about arrays. Yeah, arrays, structures and unions. One descriptive question is compulsory and one difference between questions is compulsory. Array, structures and unions. One descriptive question you will definitely get. And that descriptive question can be about arrays. What is an array? What are the types? What are the advantages of arrays? Give example with syntax, something like that they might ask. What is a structure? Or they might ask difference between arrays and structures, difference between structures and unions. They will never ask difference between arrays and unions. It is difference between arrays and structures or difference between structures and unions. See, this many topics if you learn, actually discuss, and one more topic, that is typecasting, data conversion. Okay, under data conversion, you have implicit and explicit typecasting, implicit and explicit conversions. Explicit conversion is also called as typecasting. So typecasting is a very important topic. This I have explained in the second or third video in C programming. You have data types and variables. There is a or operators. In these 2 videos, data conversion explanation is there. You have implicit and explicit conversion. When implicit conversion happens and when explicit conversion happens, you will have to understand. And this explicit conversion is also called as typecasting. So typecasting is an important question. I have seen many students give an answer like this. If the question is what is typecasting and all that, students say there are implicit typecasting and explicit typecasting. That is wrong. Conversion is implicit and explicit. Only explicit conversion is called as typecasting. So they might ask you what is typecasting, explain, give the syntax with example. So that question might come, and that if it comes, it is going to be a 5-mark question. So these are the important topics for descriptive questions, and these are the important programs for practical questions. Okay, and yes, now you can ask any doubts or any questions if you have. And then under functions, you have this difference between call by value and call by reference. Call by value, again, this is one important question. Just call by reference. If you have learned recursion, then this is definitely one of the topic in that. You don't have to study it separately, but this is a question that they might ask. It comes under recursion. Yes, please ask if you have any questions. Same topics will be asked if you are taking MCS-201 exam. It has both C program and Python. Topics will be same. like about loops and about flowcharts, about procedures. It is same in both C and Python. But in they might certain programs they might ask you to write about Python. They might ask you loops in Python. So whatever topics we have discussed, same topic, half of them will have same answer under Python subject also. Half of them there'll be like slight difference. So go through those differences in Python. So half of the syllabus will be same as what you have in C programming. And these topics that I just listed, these topics like file handling, string handling, and difference between iteration and recursion, and data types, printing patterns, these things, they might ask you to write either a C program or a Python program. So that depends. And if they ask you string handling functions again, what are the compare string handling functions of C with Python? So this kind of questions can be asked when it comes to MCS 201. Yes, any questions? Also learn about break and continue. Okay, difference between break and continue. Ternary operator, I'm sure you'll be knowing. See, using file handling concept, write a program to copy one file to another. It's very rare that it is given for 5 marks. Usually file handling program is given for 10 marks. Yes, any questions? Okay, let me know if you have any questions. If there are no questions, then I'll wind up the session, and make sure you focus on all the topics that I had mentioned. You can easily get about 50-60 marks in your paper, because most of them, the topics theory questions are repeated. Programs will have a slight change. If you know how to write, then you will be able to write the program. No questions? Thank you for your reply. MCS 211 paper. What is MCS 211? Can you tell me what's the subject? How the paper will be evaluated, right? See, that we do not know, because IGNOU faculties do not go for evaluation. So honestly, we don't know how it's evaluated, or who evaluates it. And design and analysis of algorithms. Okay, I will try this week. This Dijkstra's Prim's algorithm are common with your data structures paper also. Adjacency matrix and adjacency list representation. 100 marks paper, right? Okay, few things I will explain. Okay, Kruskal's Prim's algorithm, Dijkstra's algorithm for shortest path problem, and then few things. This sorting algorithm and all is there for in your data structures playlist. Already it is there. Okay, because after writing well in exams, one or the other subject will fail and not. See, theory exam, this is a very common complaint that IGNOU exams, you will not get expected marks in theory. This is a common complaint. And as faculties, we do not receive any answer script. That like in board exams, the website releases an answer script, right? To know how to present the answers. So like that in IGNOU, they do not release anything. And so for that reason, we do not know exactly how they prefer. But see, as faculties ourselves, I myself have 11 years of more than 11 years of teaching experience, and I have taught in various colleges and for various levels of students. So based on our experience, see, we expect as a faculty what all I would be expecting if I am writing this, evaluating an answer for this question. So those things is what we are guiding to students, and based on that, students are also getting good marks. Many students have replied to me, have texted me after getting their results. They've texted that by watching the videos, they had enough information. See, you cannot score like 90 plus, but they're scoring quite decent marks. So as much as possible, I'm trying to help. I cannot provide complete help on all the topics. Like one of the student had just texted me, that they wanted full notes of all subjects. See, that way even I won't be able to sit and prepare entire notes, right? And for all the subjects, I won't be able to help also. So whatever possible, best from my side, in my very busy and hectic schedule, I'm also trying to help little bit. So somewhere it'll give little clarity for students in preparation. Okay. So here, see all these sorting and searching algorithms. This is MCS-211. Apply bubble sort algorithm for the following list of numbers. They've not asked you to write the algorithm. They've asked you to apply the algorithm. So you should be writing steps as to which number is compared with which number and how it proceeds. So these things you will get in my data structures playlist. If you go through playlist, you will know all the searching and sorting techniques are explained in detail. Okay. Apart from that, few of these things, I think graph coloring is there. It has literally everything. All topics are there in this. Anyway, Kruskal's Prim's distress algorithm and sorting algorithms. This thing, I think I can take a revision class. But before that, you can also watch the playlist and you can try to understand the concepts. Okay. Those who are writing exam tomorrow, all the best. And if any concept is not very clear to you, go to my channel, go to the playlist and watch C programming tutorials. And under data structures, you will find certain videos on dynamic memory allocation, and you will find videos on searching and sorting. So that also you can go through. And the concepts are explained in a very simple way, so you can easily remember for tomorrow. That is for sure. You can remember and you can write it easily. Okay, all the best for all of them who are taking exams, and I'll try to share as many resources as possible and take as many revision classes as possible. Okay. Okay. See you all in the next video. Bye bye.